Hey travelers, it's me, Caroline, Kim, and Xander, and this is
Immersive storytelling.
I'm going to get started by sharing my screen. And to kick off the conversation, we'll jump into a peculiar trend of the year. One of them being uncanny valley makeup. Has anyone heard of this? So it seems to have like a focus on the pupils being black, this sort of doll-esque.
Ambiguously threatening. I think the other page here, that definition, like vaguely human, ambiguously threatening kind of thing. Yeah. Yes, I've seen that one and seen the videos of her. She's an actual real AI though, right? What's her name? Like Zoe or something?
Yeah, so really, I guess we'll see an example here of a creator leaving a makeup video. Let's see. I mean, it kind of, for me, it looks like a horror kind of.
It's been interesting to see people like try to make themselves look like AI generated to just kind of throw off. Like people have been walking around with an extra prosthetic finger just to kind of throw off, tracking systems.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Yeah, I think in that article, and like I said, we'll post all of the links to the articles that we're referencing here today, but it seems, let's see, I'll read a quote. Pop culture has long assigned fear factors and untrustworthiness to robots, from Terminator in 1984 to Ex Machina in 2014, but today the line between what's real and what isn't is increasing in a world of AI deepfakes and social humanoid robots. So it's an interesting sort of takeaway there, and I'll kind of open it up if we want to talk about it further. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting kind of peculiar trend that's popping up, and I think it sort of intersects with what we talk about, because like we touched on in both episodes, this user generated content is becoming more at the forefront of how we interact with social platforms today, I think. And this is one output is of self-expression is makeup, right? So this is an interesting, I thought, makeup trend that popped up over the last year that sort of intersects with technology in a sense, or authenticity or humanity or whatnot. Another makeup trend that I thought was interesting and on the radar was my last break in this Christmas holiday was Christmas filter makeup. Has anyone here heard of this? This is basically it's a physical overlay, right? It's my screen sharing.
Oh God! And start brushing this into my eyebrows. Well,
yeah. So basically, the filter
is it the best eyebrows?
Goes over different parts of the face, puts an overlay of a pattern.
Now we have to add an eyeliner.
And once it lands, that makeup artist paints, literally, physically paints it. So that I thought was an interesting, immersive storytelling interaction over the last week that I was like, wow, we're using AR filters to put a stencil or a template, and then now we're actually painting them. It's very interesting to me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's
Yeah. Go ahead, Kim.
I know. I think it's amazing. Like I'm learning right now. I didn't even know you could do this. It just gamified
Yeah.
makeup.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, I really like how some of the fashion houses and things were doing, like the AR wearable jewelry, like the glasses, the earrings, and that sort of thing. I think this filter brings like another layer to it, and kind of like we touched on in the other episodes, also like just with that kind of Hollywood-esque visual effects quality from your phone. Really empowers like creators to do some incredible things with the custom filters and makeup. And also maybe I'd love to see some of the like larger brands doing like a phygital model, maybe where you like buy the phygital product and then you get like a real life, or the digital project and get like a physical product to go along with it, so you can like complete a look, like like they're doing in the videos, pair them with like a digital and a AR filter. It's really cool. I could see a lot of like product and marketing and even like experiential things being paired with that. So that's awesome. Awesome share. Thanks for showing us that.
Another AR element that I learned about over the weekend was something called, let's see, NFL, an NFL collaboration with Nickelodeon. I'm not sure if anyone here has heard of this, but essentially there's overlays and a more kid-friendly, if you will, version of the games. And so they have like splashes, bubbles, overlays over the game. And I think that's a fun way to create a more engaging experience for the youthful demographic of watchers, and to bring in a more younger audience into the NFL. And I have a quote that I'll read, and then I'll kick off with a question, and we'll dive into topics related to social good and immersive storytelling. And this is a quote relative to viewer stats for sports related media. So, whether a fan is watching at home, in person, or on the go, the actual sporting event is going to be mediated, personalized, and shared through a variety of digital channels for a customized experience that meets the needs of each individual fan. That's immersive sports. 2 or 3 fans, 3 different fans could be watching the same sporting event, but they will have their own personalized sports reality. One might be more interested in stats and analytics. Another might prefer to bet on sports so they can do it from their laptop or mobile device while they watch the game or on another screen. A third person might be co-watching the game with friends from all over the world and playing a prediction game with them. And this came from a stat that showed over 90% of Gen Z sports fans use social media to consume sports content. So that's an interesting takeaway.
I used to work at Intel Sports. I have a background in doing immersive storytelling for sports, and you were pretty spot on about even back then when I can't remember exactly. It might have been like 5 years ago when I got into immersive storytelling for sports. But personalization was our biggest push. And I can see why Gen Z is very big in personalization, is because bite-sized content with highlights is more preferable. Now, people don't necessarily sit to watch a full game. Sometimes they just want recaps. And just like other forms of media, like entertainment, even I think like the music awards, if you notice, it's a way bigger push now on social media than it was necessarily about watching the show. You kind of get the highlights of the clips. There's also the ability, as you said, to watch with like analytics or watch replays, things like that, content that's more shareable. Because I think the thing we're kind of noticing with using all this tech is what makes something go viral is user-generated content or like the ability to share. So having that tie, a lot of the like NFL, that the sport leagues, one of the biggest capabilities they always wanted was the ability to share easily on social media. So having these immersive storytelling where it's like someone doing a slam dunk or like, but like showing it in a 360 spin, or being able to put the player who was like an NFL player into now they're in Toy Story's Andy's room doing it. So now we have all this data. Like I guess people aren't fully aware that even like the balls that are used in sports games nowadays have so many sensors on them. There's an API you could call to track where the ball is going, and you could already have all these predictions about whether they're going to score. So as soon as the ball leaves someone's hand, you already have some type of percentage of whether it's going to score. But I guess tying it back to why personalization is so big for especially, I guess, the younger generations is because they want to be able to watch content in the way that suits them, and I guess which way they find more favorable.
That's interesting, and I wonder if that's also a reflection on their view of the world, you know, in a larger sense, like how it relates back to their perspective, drives their understanding or their focus or their attention on the matter in front of them.
Incredible. Yeah, Kim, those are some really awesome perspectives. And I think the other kind of component I was thinking about was like the interactive element, you know, while you're watching, you can interact in real time, you know, like we've been talking about. So it's like that shared content real time thing. Like with UFC fighters, they like whenever they post on X, the broadcast team will share the thoughts and reactions of the fighters like live on the fight, so you can kind of see like what they're saying there, and vice versa. If you're on you know, X, while you're watching the fights, on your phone, even on your device while you're watching, you can like, you know, see the real time interaction and response of the fighters, as well as see it on the screen. And I think, as far as like viewing the elements actually on, you know, on the phone, like I have like the ESPN Plus app, let's say, and there is like a kind of element where it takes up your device. But it's also like if you could have it embedded into a social media site where it could be like interactive and you could still be like sharing and commenting and like seeing those things all at once, I think that would be the future of, at least one perspective of the screen, personalized experience. Obviously, depending on your like data and the things you like, it would deter what would be coming into your screen, as long as it's contextual, you know, to what you're into. I think that elevates the experience and makes it more like, you know, pleasurable, and especially with user generated content, that's a piece of your digital identity. So you can share this team's like authentic looking branding and celebrate like a big win together, with other fans, as opposed to just like, you know, by yourself. You can celebrate with those around you, but like that fan interaction, engagement, community sense is also very powerful. And I think a key trend we'll see in 2024. A project I'm working on right now is with an MMA fighter, Max Griffin. He's a UFC fighter and veteran UFC fighter, and we're really trying to utilize some of those same things we're talking about, to really just elevate the fandom of his following, to give them personalized experiences and products, and incorporate some of the, you know, fandom elements from watching the sport, into more, you know, micro influencers type experiences that are more personalized for
Okay.
the athlete.
That sounds very interesting, and I'm excited to watch that evolve. So, on the topic of influencers, we have an emerging trend to watch out for in 2024, which is the growth of the nano influencer. And the nano influencer, for those who are listening and not aware, are accounts with 1,000 to 10,000 followers on a social media platform, generate more than, and the study shows that they generate more than twice the engagement of a macro influencer. So the prediction is that more and more consumer brands, particularly in beauty, fashion, wellness, will be leveraging these nano influencers. The benefit being they tend to go at a lower price point or cost for partnerships, and also that 2 times the engagement stat. So if you were to make some educated guesses on what makes this emerging group of nano influencers different than those who have an audience of more than 10,000, what would your guesses be?
I would say maybe one thing like would be speed. When you know, like you can make a bunch of those kinds of accounts or engage a bunch of those level of accounts at a much cheaper price point than the larger accounts. So you can, you know, like kind of do a quantity and streamline messaging. Another reason is sometimes when your account starts to grow, your following is really only engaged toward one or maybe a few dimensions of your brand, as opposed to, you know, they're used to like seeing content about technology. So if you put out a product that's maybe in health or beauty, they may not, you know, you might have 100,000 followers, but nobody's really there to see that. So you're, you know, then it won't get engagement. So the influencer sometimes is less uh, incentivized to share things outside their niche. So you can hit like more target markets, more niche target markets, and more market segments with the nano accounts and the nano influencers, maybe.
I think from my side, it's from the business side. I know sometimes I work more with nano influencers because of just budget for what you can get from. Sometimes it's more about the number of pieces of content that can be generated for like the budget that we have. For example, I've used some platforms for like promoting music, and I've looked at like Instagram trends for music, and one of the biggest deciders of whether a track goes viral is just how many reels it has. So you can go on these platforms and pay between $1 and $3 for them to review your track. And if the influencer likes it, they'll make a video. Like $1 to $3 to create a user-generated piece of content is a lot cheaper than sometimes working with a macro influencer where you're spending like, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to create just one video. So I see that also as a benefit because when you run an, like if you're a business and you run an ad with a person in it, it's a lot more likely to get some type of interaction than if I put a video without a person that's just a bunch of text, and it feels a lot more like I'm trying to sell to you versus it's a person that you kind of are more likely to trust the brand to buy from.
That's definitely what our hot topic article supports. Thank you for sharing, Kim. So to bring it full circle, one of the points on an article that we're referencing in today's episode are influencers walk the line of honest selling. While people want to buy a product, they absolutely do not want to feel like they're being sold one. it's a tricky landscape for influencers with this in mind, as while followers don't want to feel sucked into something that's so obviously branded, they also do want to know when something is an ad or paid partnership. On the realm of this topic, I'll bring us to our next hot topic, focus conversation point, which is platform agnosticism. And I'll just read a quote. Gone are the days when creators proudly identify as an Instagrammer or a YouTuber. As platforms race to provide the best content monetization opportunities, creators are realizing that diversifying platform presence can diversify income streams. So this is a prediction that 2024 will be the year of this migration or movement towards platform agnosticism. So have you both seen any hints or evidence in your own realms to support this?
I feel like this is the biggest push about moving to what is Web3. Like
Okay.
we all know we're moving towards that, but also I think there's so much that happened in this past year with like, you know, like how much we went from Twitter to X, and just as we went from, you know, Facebook became Meta a couple years ago, same thing. Like we've watched many social media platforms rise and fall. And I think that's made it very obvious to like creators that you can't put all your eggs in one basket, because you never know what's going to happen to these platforms. Or like if like I know I hadn't been big on TikTok, but I have to try to break into it too, because you have to just diversify where people can find you. People have to be able to find you everywhere.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Xander?
Yeah, I thought another, like with the Twitter and the X change, another thing this year was really interesting was Threads, where we saw a already prominent social media site come out with a similar product offering as another major social media site. You know, being Threads being really close to the Twitter/X format. So I think that is, like you said, like I think maybe it's gonna be really tough to be like platform agnostic, like or not be platform agnostic and only choose one platform as they continue to grow. But I'm interested to see how they'll develop. You know, will we see also another really good instance is how many platforms added the Reels experience or the story format experience as a trend, you know, which was once like a specific benefit to just like the TikTok platform. We saw Instagram adopt it, and even YouTube adopt it, and Facebook adopt it because it was so popular. So, will we see the more fluid social media sites becoming much more modular under the moniker of just a known brand? Or will we still be in an era where there'll be new offerings that new platforms can offer to rise and compete with the already established giants? So yeah, I'm with Kim. I'd love to see, actually, I'd love to see a little bit more transformation where users are paid for their data, like the Web3. We own our own data and we give platforms or brands access to it, and we get paid. We're kind of like shareholders in the company as opposed to the product offering. So that's a beautiful vision of the future.
Turn this question over to Kim, because I know you've been using Instagram quite a lot to create these remixes, and I was wondering if you could tell us what those are. Like, what is a remix?
Well, I'm not sure if it's specific just to Instagram, but what I've noticed the trend in creating content from other people's content. So Instagram allows you to either do a remix where it's just like editing that one piece of content that someone else created, versus a sequence where you can take that whole piece of content someone else made and snap it up into like an intro, a middle, or an end type thing. Like you could cut it up, chop it up many ways and include your own videos into it. So one is like you take a video, something that's already made, and I guess you really do just do a remix of it. You can change the track, or you can add elements on top of it, versus you could do a sequence where you can kind of change the storyline itself. This has been very popular with those types of content where someone is showing you how to do a hack, and then at the end you repeat the hack, but you show how it's kind of like inconvenient. You're like, you're making it a lot more something simple very complicated, and those have been kind of like blowing up. It's added the thing I've noticed is, before I started using these tools, I didn't realize how many tools for creators these social media platforms had until I really started playing with them. I feel like there's new tools every day. There's new features, and it's all kind of pointed at trying to keep people on these platforms creating content. And so they're all competing with each other. The Instagrams, the TikToks, they copy each other's features. Like Snapchat was the one that really took off with the whole stories piece, and we watched everyone else take stories. And YouTube has stories. YouTube has short form content. Like we've really watched social media transform. LinkedIn has shorts. Everyone has it.
As I am diving deeper into my understanding of creating these AR effects and filters, I've come across the interaction component of the lesson, which basically showed a myriad of hand signals that you can use to prompt certain activities in the AR landscape in your space, right? So certain hand signals do certain things. So it's interesting because I understand, hand gestures are not a universal language. What a hand gesture means somewhere could not mean something the same somewhere else. I just wonder how, what is in mind to create these sort of like real-time AR overlays of immersive experiences with your hands. And that's a new controller rather than this sort of antiquated corded controller controlling something in the scene. Now you are controlling something in the scene with your hands. And I think that was a very cool sort of interactive feature that I have my eyes on from that sort of perspective of the camera being, the interface between the selfie or a camera external view. And yeah,
That's really cool. That's really cool. And I think that aligns with the vision of some of the tech companies, like with the AR VR headsets, like the Vision Pro it has no VR controllers. It's all hand gesture control. The Oculus 3, even the Oculus 2 has some hand gesture control elements, which is like, it adds another immersion layer when you literally can just use your hands to control the environment and the gameplay. It's really like just very intuitive, so that design is really impressive, and I'm really excited to watch how it continues to develop.
I think that's gonna be the big change for 2024 is this mixed reality. The bridge of having more, like, as you said, I guess when you use your hands instead of controllers, you're just a lot more immersed. It kind of blends, like, people have this idea that controllers is a lot more gamey. So when you can take that away and the ability for anyone to just use their hands as controllers, it's going to open it up to a lot more people to make it more accessible.
definitely.
But go for it.
Definitely. No, I think that hands will be the new controllers for 2024. My prediction.
I like that.
like
That's
just like
cool.
that.
Yeah, so just a sidebar here. That's of course Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. But why I was so intrigued with the hands as an art form is because like in this realm there are main tool for manipulation, and they also have like a lot of mystic and just powerful mythology around them. For instance, and I totally got this from the book the Grow Through Music Lesson, but they're talking about because it's about becoming a musician and learning to play, and most of all art forms and instruments are done through the hands. But like even when you get hurt or like an injury, like the first thing you want to do is like touch it, or like just like someone like show affection, you show um, concern, and just use your hands, so intuitively um, that they're a very like sacred tool in this dimension. So it's really interesting, and that's why kind of why I got the tattoo. I think it's so interesting, um, to reach out and manipulate with them. So it's really cool to see us starting to like just move into times where there are primary mode of interaction in all realities, not just like the space one.
It's very big for virtual reality too. Having you feel immersed as soon as you like see your hands. If your hands are kind of off from where your body is, you break immersion a bit. So I do see how the push towards having just your hands and the experience is really going to transform how we do storytelling. Well, I guess what are some other predictions for 2024? Because I feel like some of these were pretty spot on.
AI escapism to prove popular with audiences. So platforms like TikTok have already generated AI labels. So it's clear to users what's real and what's not. This will be also supercharged by TikTok's recent addition of AI labels for creators to use when posting AI generated content, making a significant shift in this space. Trends this year have so far focused on fun content, such as turning your dog into a Disney Pixar character, but I expect there to be even more exciting things to come in this space in 2024. Maybelline was just one of the brands we saw this year using AI for its marketing, launching a campaign for a new mascara, and it exploded. Perhaps with everything going on in the world at the moment, people just want to be pulled into a fantasy world. For some respect, and AI can help achieve just that. Which is, I guess, supportive of the uncanny valley makeup. I mean, that's a fantasy world.
There's AI influencers now too that have, I guess, become the new influencer for brands. There was this, I'm have to, I guess, pull up the article, but she's like a replica of based in Spain, but not a. What was her name, Xander?
Oh, I was like maybe Little Michaela.
There's a couple of them, yeah.
There's quite a few of them,
and it's been very interesting to see them grow their followings too.
Yeah, which I think makes like the most sense from a brand perspective. For one, it's they're immortal. You don't have to worry about your child actor aging out, or your leading man becoming older. Also, it's kind of one of the oldest techniques we've used is like Mickey Mouse and Disney. Like animated figures we can associate with a brand that speak to us beyond just a business or a product. It's like a way of life or a feeling associated with them. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And on that note too, I think one of my favorite films is Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. Who did it? Oh man, the director is so good. I can't remember his name. Spike Jones, I think his name is. He's an incredible filmmaker. But it's about the onset of artificial intelligence and companionship. So I think that's going to be a trend we really see develop, because at first it was like the internet for dating was weird, even dating was weird, and then we saw a lot of websites just completely dominate the market and make billions of dollars. And I think we'll see the same thing with artificial intelligence. And there's already tools and profitable companies and a lot of things doing that sort of thing. So I think that's going to maybe become more prominent in 2024. Let's touch that.
It's just been like 1 year of having AI in the hands of people. So 2024 you're going to really see it explode. I am excited for the Apple Vision Pro, but like the interesting piece about that is it's very smart the way that Apple's doing it, in that they haven't necessarily set a date, because they still understand that the ecosystem needs to be built in some way. So right now it's really at the hand of the developers. And if it's really about creating a piece of an experience or a game or something to captivate audiences with their headset. So I like that they opened up their developer software to people. So it's going to be very much a year for creators.
I'm excited to see all of the social media trends that are more on the side of peculiar evolve and follow them and see how we are adapting to all of the technological progress and how we're expressing ourselves and still connecting and being able to highlight the beautiful parts of what it means to be a human being. And I also am excited about more immersive storytelling as it intersects into the physical world. So what Google Maps is doing, I'm impressed with, and looking forward to seeing how that grows and how immersive storytelling is more intermixed with navigation or travel or that maps feature. So that's what I'm excited about.
What are they doing? It's like, I know it's like immersive and there's like 3D, but like I don't know. What else can you tell me?
I believe it's the Creator SDK that allows you to, I believe, using Unity, add interactive moments in geographic areas.
Gotcha. So it's the linking of the physical and the digital world tools.
Yes. How might we combine haptics responses and wearable technologies with a visual heads-up AR map could help us improve last mile deliveries, or how we might teach world history differently with spatial audio layered on top of a historical 3D map. I, in my times at classical civilization studies, took a class on immersive, Roman spectacle. And pretty much we went through ancient Rome in different periods and saw the forum change and different buildings and such change over time. And we were able to walk around via desktop in these simulated historic replica environments to learn about how the different routes changed and, procession rites or funeral orations or spectacle, games, editions of arenas and such over time. So that was something I thought was interesting, that I do find from a first-hand perspective, having that context in the actual map environment visually showing anyone who's learning about them through text what really the experience was human to human based on space, right? So how long it took for me to get to the forum to the Circus Maximus, I can understand that now. And I think that's kind of what I would hope to see evolve or come from this immersive map layer that they now have, that SDK or those tools, the creator kit, to give to the creators, so that now it's the waiting period of, let's see what we can create and what meaningful stories around our physical environment we can contextualize for more people. And I think, given the sports stats with the Gen Zs, consuming sports through social platforms, above 90% of them, this, I would imagine, would be a helpful learning tool or educational tool, so we can possibly learn about our physical world. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that you broke that all the way down. Incredible. That I mean, that you even connected to the historical aspects of ancient civilizations, and as their mediums transformed, it evolved with their whole way of living in life, and how you could watch that happen. So that's really incredible. I think we're seeing a similar maybe renaissance of our performing arts driving culture, or that kind of correlation, at least. So that's awesome. I'm really gonna keep an eye out for that.
Immersive storytelling.